Heidi ho, neighbor.
Hey, everybody.
How goes it? Another glorious Thursday, another week almost down.
You know,
Let's see what we can do here. We've been pretty good about sticking to that 20 minute ish range for the last few. Let's see if we can do it today. It's nice out, the weather's warm, the sky's clear. I know people don't want to sit inside all day, so maybe we can get this one done and let them go get some sunlight.
yeah, for sure. Say it's always nice down by you. It's even nice over here in the Midwest for me. Can't wait to get out there.
I know you're wearing a t-shirt today. It's weird. All right, so today we are talking AnyDesk. Now, I know a lot of people are going to have probably two different reactions like, ew, why are you using remote management tools? Or, well, duh, all the threats are doing that, so why wouldn't you put this into a campaign? Well, we're kind of on the latter side of that, where it makes perfect sense. We've seen it happen a lot. I mean, there's a lot of notable usage when it comes to AnyDesk as a vector for, just access in general on endpoints, but also like alternate C2. A couple notables is what Black Hat, Lazarus, APT29, and I mean, there's a ton more. That list kind of is pretty long on threat actors or groups that we've seen using AnyDesk here, even in the recent past, not years ago, like just still to this day. So it seemed like one of those things that was really cool for us to build. And Tyler pulled out some magic, and we've got an interesting little way of doing it from an unintended perspective. So with that, let's dive in and start talking about it, Tyler.
Yeah, for sure. And saying like Trey said, we see people or we see reporting all the time. I mean, in almost every report that we read, it seems like they're using AnyDesk. So we've included AnyDesk in some previous emulations that we have, but typically that will just start the AnyDesk process, just kind of make some telemetry so you can see that it was downloaded and that it was running, but it didn't connect to anything. So this is going to be a little different. We're actually going to see it's almost like a reverse shell utilizing RMM or RAS tooling, either remote management tooling or remote access software, depending on, I guess, what you're using it for. But with that, let me go ahead and share my screen.
So this one's got some pretty cool logic built in at the beginning. It's going to do a quick check to validate if AnyDesk is already on the endpoint or not. If it's there, it's just going to go about its business and continue on and do the steps. If it's not, we have it pull down a portable version of this, right, Tyler, and then execute that.
Yes, sir. So yeah, that's exactly right. Before we do that though, we have just this variable to set the unattended password. So Trey had said unattended a few moments ago. So the unattended piece just allows you to preset a password. So that way, when you go to connect to it, it doesn't prompt the end user to accept the connection. It just will allow it. It'll just, as long as you have the correct password, it'll just connect over to it without any interaction from the end user. So yeah, like Trey said up first, we look to see if you have AnyDesk installed. And if you do have AnyDesk installed in it, we'll just use that. So that way we don't have to go ahead and download an additional one. We'll just kind of use what's already there. Not quite living off the land, but kind of like living off the land, in the same kind of vein, right? And then after that, that's what all of these steps right here will do. And then we'll get into, if you don't have it installed, we're going to go ahead and download a portable version of it. That way we don't have to install it as a service. You can be a standard user. You don't need any additional permissions or anything like that. And we do that. Really, we just have the AnyDesk portable stored in the virtual file system. We pull it down to the to that end user. We pull it down to the user profile desktop. Obviously, you can change this to whatever wherever you want it to go. Then we'll start the AnyDesk process.
And we need a few things for this to work, right? The first one you showed them was the variable for the password for it to be unattended. But for us to actually connect back to it, we need to get their AnyDesk ID. So you've got a step for that as well.
Yeah, so that's what this step right here will do. So it'll go in and query that AnyDesk executable to grab the ID. It has to be started to do that. So that's why we go ahead and start it prior to pulling that ID. And the steps for our portable execution and the steps for your already pre-installed execution is the same. The only difference is whether or not we download the portable executable, and then the file path will change, obviously, because it'll be downloaded somewhere else other than desktop, probably, right? So there, yeah, we'll go in, we'll pull your AnyDesk ID. It'll return that ID to us. And then the next step here, we're going to echo our password. So that is that variable we set up top. It should be like secure password, I think is the default one. And then 11 here is just the file path of your user desktop. And then we'll tell it to launch AnyDesk and run it with this unattended access. So what this will do, this is actually going to set your unattended access profile to utilize that password. So this is where we set up that unattended usage here. And then we'll restart AnyDesk. That way this unattended access profile will be put into place with our secure password. And then we have just a little delay. And then I deleted the cleanup steps because we want to leave all the artifacts on disk, right? So how that looks when you actually execute it here, just expand all of these. Oh, before that, Vic had a question. How does it validate if AnyDesk is installed? For that, I will show you in the campaign. Oh, he's on his phone. Okay. So what we do, we just query inside of program files, either program files x86 or just standard program files for AnyDesk, and it just recursively looks down inside of program files. And if it does find it, it'll pull out the full path, and then we'll utilize that path in these steps here. So you see that's number 4. So you see we have number 4. So that's where we get if you have AnyDesk installed or not. For the standard installation, it's looking inside of program files or program files x86. If you have it in a custom location, then this wouldn't find that, but most people just run the standard install, right? Most people don't have their files install in other locations, right? At least that's my experience. You guys might have a different perspective. I would love to hear.
And this is something, if your organization is a little wonky or different and you're not putting stuff in those standard program files folders, you could easily change that step to have it look through C or look anywhere else.
Yes.
Or if you don't like the word searching for it, you could do like see if there's an active service or process, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways to check it. I mean, if you're not worried about like time or your campaign being very like resource intensive, like you said, Trey, you could look through the file system, you can look through all the shared drives. I mean, you can look through whatever you want, right? But it's just going to pull out that you just need the full file path location of where it's installed.
Hey,
but
Todd,
yes, sir.
Zoom on the campaign steps.
Oh yeah, sorry.
A little fuzzy for people. There we go.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It always makes everything look super small when we have our faces up here. All right. So with ours, I do not have AnyDesk installed on our lab machine. So this is going to be the downloading of the portable executable. Excuse me. So here it's just Scythe loading its modules. We'll do the first step here. So this is the check to see if it's already installed. We have we didn't get anything returned, so it'll skip over the already pre-installed one and get into the downloading of our AnyDesk portable executable. So we need this command to run because we utilize the output of this later on in the campaign. So it's just letting us know where the user profile is. Next up, we'll download it. It'll get downloaded to the user profile desktop, and then we'll go ahead and start it. Like I said. So in here, this is where it's going to pull that ID. So we need to make note of this because this is what we need to go ahead and connect to that remote end. So we'll make a note of this. I got it copied so we can see it. Next up, we'll set that secure pass 123 for that unattended access profile. Again, that's just so you can log in without the end user being prompted for anything. We don't want to bother the end user. We don't want them to have to click anything. We don't want to social engineer anything. We want to just connect with them having the least interaction possible, right? Then we'll restart the service. So that takes place, and then it goes into our delay. So not super crazy from a thread perspective, but getting into our command prompt here. So we have on our victim host now, we have AnyDesk that AnyDesk portable has been downloaded. It's been started. We have that unattended access set. We know that it's running because if it wasn't running, it wouldn't return anything for this ID. We have the ID, so now we're going to go from our attacker box and connect to that AnyDesk instance on the remote host. So to do that, we're just going to echo our password, secure pass 123. Point at your AnyDesk executable you have on your attacker box, paste in your ID, and then tell it with a password. And then we'll go ahead and press enter and see what happens. So our AnyDesk will pop up. It's going to connect over to that end user, to that victim host with that ID that we have. And then we'll give it a second and we should see their screen.
So it's probably eating a good bit of bandwidth with us live streaming too. So
yeah,
there we go.
Just takes a second. Yeah, so then here we can see the end user box that we have going. I'm not sure why we're getting that. There we go. It's just being a little strange there for a second. It's probably some weird screen inception we have going on. But here you can see I'm on the remote host. This is our lab machine that we have. I can run commands over here. I can minimize AnyDesk, so that's one less thing that the end user sees. And then here you essentially have, like we said, a reverse shell utilizing AnyDesk. You have now a GUI. You're logged in as whatever that user is logged in as, and you can do, essentially whatever you want.
And the nice part about this is we're kind of trying to keep true to what we said a few weeks back, where we're trying to build you guys more building blocks. This in and of itself isn't a full kill chain threat. It's just something you could easily take these steps, plug them into any one of your campaigns, and now you've got an alternative method of access and performing further behaviors. You don't have to keep it all in line with your Scythe C2 and go through this AnyDesk route or take it some other way. So this is just a cool new capability you can add in on your campaigns.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we like to think of these as like compound actions. Like Trey's saying, we're going to try to put some more of these out so you're able to kind of piece together these different compound actions in order to make your full kill chain, right?
So Vic's got a question down there, actually. Can you look at your process tree and see if you like start something within AnyDesk, if it's tied to AnyDesk or tied to just native, like its own parent?
Let's see what we got here. Go to, say Vic's out here having us do it live. Thought I had Process Explorer installed on here. Just open Task Manager.
You can do it the hard way like I had to earlier this morning.
Yeah. Alrighty. So let's see. If you remember this, start CMD or other applications for your remote terminal, is a process change tied to any. So do you want us to run something from inside of the Scythe campaign and see if it's tied to AnyDesk, or run something here inside of AnyDesk and then see if we have a sub process come up?
I think he's asking if it's inside, like through the AnyDesk window itself.
I say I'm in the AnyDesk window now, running some commands. Nothing.
Like,
so we can see, I see PowerShell coming up. So it'll launch a new PowerShell process, but I don't see it. Yeah, I'm inside. This is the AnyDesk connection that we have. So it looks like it'll log just like a standard PowerShell terminal being opened, or like a standard process creation being made. It's actually a really good point, Vic. We'll have to look more into that, because that's a good way to kind of get around some other detections too, make it look a little less like it's coming from the bad guy. All right. Yeah, that's great, Vic. Thanks. Yeah.
Just for funsies, let's pop calc real quick and see how that comes up. So yeah, it's not a child of AnyDesk, it's its own thing.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I can see. I just saw it a second ago, right over here. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so that's a very interesting way that you can look at it too, is just another way to kind of avoid things coming from suspicious parent processes or things like that. So yeah, that's very very interesting. But so onto some of the detections that we do have. It's a nice caveat we have there. Just like everything, every week, my favorite one to talk about is the suspicious CMD or PowerShell parent image. It really is just a great start, and you really want to run this in your environment. You could probably gonna need to tune it a little bit, but this really has been just great wins for us in looking at some of our detections. So in here we see that PowerShell and CMD are started. It's got a parent image of TT AnyDesk, which is the name of the implant, TT for Threat Thursdays. And then here we can pull out all of the command line values that they have, so we can see that we're looking for AnyDesk inside of program files. We can see we're restarting and starting the service. We're setting this password.
Are you able to zoom a bit?
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. Let me, you know what? Let me see if I could just drop us. Don't have my full screen. There we go. Let me do that. I'll drop us out of there so it's a little more zoomed in. Hopefully that's good for everybody to see. So yeah, so we can see all of the PowerShell command line arguments that are being ran up here, and then we can see all of the or the PowerShell arguments and then the command line arguments that we have under here. This cmd/c who am I was me testing something else. So yeah, we can very clearly see what was ran. We had recently done this in a purple team exercise, and the only thing that was triggered for us trying to use it was trying to set this unattended access. That was picked up by Cobalt Strike in that we were trying to enable RMM tooling to run unattended. So that's a really good detection you should check to see if you have for your EDR. And then next up, we just look for remote access tools, specifically AnyDesk that is executing on our network. So if AnyDesk is not a common tool that you utilize, this is a great detection that you can run. It's just looking if your product, company, or image is any of these values, right? So even if they change the name of the executable, if they don't go in and change the metadata in there, your AnyDesk and your AnyDesk product and AnyDesk software GmbH company is still going to exist in there. Oh, did I say Cobalt Strike? Yeah.
Yep.
My bad. I meant to say CrowdStrike.
Still on your mind from earlier today?
It's the CS because I just call them CS, so I get them confused sometimes. Yeah, so this is a great one to run. Just looking for, if it's executing in your environment. Again, if it's not common or you do not intend for people to run this, a very easy way to check is, like I said, just look at product, company, and image for AnyDesk. And then next up, kind of akin to the first detection we talked about PowerShell or CMD running outside of those standard directories. The same here. So AnyDesk executing from a suspicious folder. So the same thing, we're going to exclude program files and app data out of there. So even if you do utilize AnyDesk in your environment and it is already installed, this is a great detection to see if it's executing from somewhere else, right? So here we have it run from desktop. It could be, or actually this is what we're looking for. It's running from desktop. If it's in downloads or temp or public or C or any other kind of common directories where adversaries will place tooling, this will trigger on that. We can see some command line arguments running, and then further down we have just kind of our standard C2 connections. So that this is utilizing this information we got from this first detection of the parent image that we think is probably anomalous, suspicious, possibly malicious. So here we're just specifying that TT underscore AnyDesk is the name of the image. We want to know what it's querying out to, and we want to know what IPs it's reaching out to. And then over on the right, we have essentially the same thing, but this is specifically looking for the query name or the image to be AnyDesk. So this will trigger once AnyDesk attempts to connect out to its AnyDesk network. So from what I understand, AnyDesk essentially will run as an out-of-band C2 because it will stand up its own AnyDesk network, and that's how you connect to it. So this is another great detection as well, just to see if there's anyone querying or any executables that are querying out to anydesk.com. So that way, if they do change the name, they recompile it, anything like that, it'll still get caught here with the query name. So those are the pre-made, pre-canned, staged, whatever you want to call them, detections that we have for AnyDesk execution. Switch back to this. Oh, Trey, if you're talking, you are on mute.
Has to happen once a day. So what I was saying is, if you're utilizing Sigma or you're curious about some more of these rules, not just for AnyDesk or BNCV or things like that, if you go and look at Sigma HQ under is it rules, windows, process creation, they've got remote access rule sets for AnyDesk, like log me in, for net support, ultra viewer, screen connect. I mean, pick a remote access tool. They've pretty much got a generic rule set for you already to use as a detection. So you could go check those out, or even combine them all together into one rule. Just wanted to throw that one out there. I was curious to see if they had like a
What they got on there? Say RMMs and RAS tooling. That's a hot topic. Like I said, we see adversaries using it in almost every bit of CTI that we're reading, either that or remote desktop. I kind of prefer the AnyDesk connection because, like I said, it's out of band. Essentially, it's standing up its own network. Now we know that it's being logged it's not being logged in the same manner if you're executing commands inside of that GUI window, inside of that AnyDesk window. So yeah, that is all that I have for this Thread Thursday. Trey, do you have anything?
Nope. I think we are good there. Until next time, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody. See you later.